this was a mistake.
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. It's locked, all right. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well. Cannot enter. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor, too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead...
What can I do for you, Doctor?
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions, whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course you can't say the same... About me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see, that is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
I don't know what you've heard.
I don't question...
And what...
I said...
Be careful.
I only...
This is
You see...
It seems...
I refuse to see this industrial...
We can at least agree on... Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well...
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
See you again.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
I have some good...
What?
I retrieved your wallet.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl.
Not at all.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples, just like you, come together in...
Maybe you're right. But we support each other.
You do realize you could both get fired.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pepper.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my...
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Goodbye. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening, madam.
It's my son.
I'm Dr. Jonathan.
I'm Beatrice Goswell.
What can you...
Not much to say.
Are you...
Yes, thanks to my...
May I...
I'm a teacher by profession.
What do you...
I have had the uttermost reservations about...
Is there something in...
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming.
Tell me more.
The ambulance driver was quite rude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son to...
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Oh, sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening.
No.
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
I will see... How
So painful, I'd rather not.
I'll let you get...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
You always knew the words to college.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye, nurse. It's locked.
On every streetcar. The daily routine.
How long must
What can I do?
wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your
Thank-
agenda, sir. How long's it going to
What can
take
I
to
do for you,
fix me?
Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
And you can kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
It's locked, all right. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood? Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry, I know...
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury.
Perhaps I should look there first.
It's the large building behind the hospital.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. It's locked. cannot enter. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. It's locked. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. Not after blood. It's locked. These Skulls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find any...
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor.
Duty calls. When the storm...
Many thanks, Doctor.
Doctor.
My sweet girl.
Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
Tell me about you.
I don't want to talk.
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you've done enough already. The rest is up to me now.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized?
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured, you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
How painful.
So painful, I'd rather...
I'm sure...
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How
So painful.
I have to...
Don't waste your time with
Good
me.
evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss...
Never could keep anything from her.
cannot enter. Good evening, Miss Hubb.
I need blood, Doctor.
Tell me, Thelma.
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him.
You mean you actually saw?
Yes. And it has been the answer.
You have no idea what problems you're...
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Doctor.
I'll leave. It's locked.
And what of my own life?
Good evening, Milk.
Good evening. Wise choice.
It's locked, all right.
Please, sir.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir. Newton Blight.
I'm Dr. Jonathan...
Oswald and myself were both infantry, sir.
How long have you...
I can't go there. Too many rats by the...
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. Where was your friend the last...
He went down by the canal.
What can you tell me?
His name is Oswald Thatcher.
What can you tell me about him?
I'm Oswald's best friend.
This is...
We were looking...
Do you need...
No thanks, sir.
I have...
Thank you.
I cannot enter. Good evening, Miss...
Dr. Reed. Still working at night.
And why?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more...
You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Cox. I hope you're starting to take better care of yourself.
This place is full of...
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating all of my patients equally. But don't push your luck.
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have good reasons to act this way. And also weaknesses that can be exploited.
Do you ever...
The wound he gave me.
That man was...
What a surprise.
What did he want?
I recently had to kill his brother.
You're a monster.
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed.
You're lucky to be alive.
Of course.
How is your...
This is a shitty place.
What's wrong?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. Off.
I see.
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough.
What's...
Come on, Doctor.
But you're alive, thanks to...
What are you expecting, a medal?
I'll leave. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous...
Do we know each...
Actually, yes. We met once.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing...
He was also very confident about...
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing or...
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
What is the
This hospital is not exactly...
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Doc.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with doctors.
Ah, yes, the burden...
Don't get me wrong.
Tell me more.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl.
You really seem to admire her.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine...
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any...
Do you need any...
Come on.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye.
The pain. It's here again.
Dr. Reed.
For how long?
I first volunteered.
And before you...
If you must know.
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence.
Not in an official...
What about...
Dr. Reed, we...
How is the...
Everybody work...
For how...
I first...
And before...
If you must...
I'll see you later.
Dr. Reed, may I...
What can you...
Everyday folk...
News on the front.
It seemed to be...
What can...
This hospital...
Can you be more...
Well, veteran...
I'll see you...
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you...
Good evening.
Good evening. Well,
I won't lie.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get...
I was more curious about...
I'm a carpenter.
Goodbye for now, mister.
Perhaps I should have considered the option for that character.
Hey, Doc.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back.
We can't escape the consequences of our actions.
I ain't afraid of death.
And who are you, then?
I'm the leader of the wet.
How?
I know.
We can't escape.
I ain't afraid.
And who?
I'm the... extorted, stole. Now I die. Fuck it. I live the way I wanted.
Good evening, mister.
Evening.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really. I think I caught something in this bloody hospital. I swear I'm dead, yet smiling inside, Dr. Reed.
I will... Good...
I wonder what your last thought was, Lisa.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Don't think you can do much about it.
Goodbye for...
See you again.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes.
The human body. Biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be also new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
There is an absurd poetry to my situation. Physician, heal thyself.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is A remarkable man. Dedicated, one might say, obstinate? He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter for...
Have any of the...
These poor souls have so little left to live for.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by...
You make me blush.
Pardon my...
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is right...
I'm a scientist.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but...
Dr. Swansea has...
These past insufferable...
Who?
Even if it were the case...
What are your...
As the newly appointed surgeon...
If we're dealing...
As immortal tradition doth dictate...
Please continue.
My embarrassment...
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, your lady.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life has other...
Perhaps I should have considered the offer.
I met him in New York.
If only there were more. It's here again.
What?
There's no need for alarm, madam.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
If you continue shouting, I'll have you restrained and gagged. Understood?
How brave.
Harriet Jones. Indeed. I've been mean...
Oh, better than any patient.
I heard there have been some
Blackmail? Wait.
You seem to know more about the goings-on.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just wait.
If I didn't know better...
God's honest truth, Doctor.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner.
This is your business, Doctor.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them. Good evening, Nurse Hall.
Good evening.
What can you tell me about the strange...
Let me guess. You...
No matter how you feel...
Who says I don't care for her? Hey,
She could have been telling the...
that old witch will end up in hell soon.
What?
Let me get...
Goodbye.
It's here again.
Good evening, Nurse.
Good evening, Doc.
Have you seen...
I've never heard...
Do you know if any of...
The people who work...
Why does Dr. Tippett claim...
If it wasn't for him, I'd probably...
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as...
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gen...
Goodbye, now.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals. Or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
He's locked the door behind him. I need to find another way to follow him. This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here!
I'm Dr. Reed.
Okay.
Mr. Thatcher, your friend?
Yes.
Good. Now leave this place. creature is this? Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
See them fat... It's an each
Good evening, Milt.
Good evening, Doc.
Do you need any
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital.
I'll see you.
Yeah.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count. I wish I could
say this.
It's there again.
I'm quite busy.
Do you need my...
Don't be ridiculous.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your... Good evening, Mr.
I'm okay.
I have to...
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No. I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this...
Goodbye.
As for me...
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening, Dr.
Is there anything...
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy.
Goodbye.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
I will be fine. As soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
Do you need it?
I'm afraid I do.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks, anyway.
Goodbye.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Callaghan fellow.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening.
Do you need...
I'm fine.
Do you need medical...
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
Good.
I'm sorry you ended up on this plain and cold medical bench, sir.
It's locked, all right.
I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help. You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.
I cannot enter.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir.
Whatever your motives, you're making...
No offense, sir, but Dr. Swansea is one...
Do you need
Well, the proximity of the dead is not...
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr.
And that is a good thing. Death.
Goodbye. It's locked. Hello again, Mr. Blight.
I'm eternally grateful, Doctor.
Do you need medical...
Afraid so. In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately...
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
You are always...
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back to the hospital.
Perhaps he needs to reach that...
Could you speak to him?
Why it's complicated? Can you speak?
Rats, sir.
What can you...
War, what?
I fought...
Yeah.
Did you know Oswald Thatcher?
No. We...
Mr. Thatcher?
No.
I understand.
No. Nope.
Why were you...
I went by the...
Why did you...
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital.
Tell me...
That's what the bloody doctor...
Oswald, why did...
I don't trust doctors.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go...
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last...
Do you want to talk about why you...
No!
An irrational fear like yours...
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you saw it...
When I rescued you, you expressed...
Jeez, you're good, Doc. You're really good.
Go on, please.
Newton and I were trapped in a circulation tunnel.
Oswald, tell me about what happened.
It was more than that.
What you endured was terrible.
It did not destroy Newton.
Shameful thoughts. Tell me about them.
At some point, I don't remember which day, when I thought we'd never be rescued, that this would be our end, I thought about...
Say it, Mr. Thatcher. If you ever want to heal, you have to say it.
Thought about what I could do to survive, just for a few more days. I thought about killing Newton. Killing and eating him. The man I fucking love.
Tell me about your...
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said.
I admire your honesty.
The courage is what we needed in the trenches.
Have you always been this...
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again.
Goodbye. Hello again, Mr.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
You and Oswald were...
Yeah.
Oswald seemed...
It wasn't the first time it happened to me.
How?
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tub.
How do you feel about Oswald?
I love him.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out?
Enjoy your love. And enjoy...
I appreciate your kind word.
Goodbye. Good evening.
Evening,
Newton is conflicted about his feelings.
It makes me sad and angry.
His love for you is genuine.
Newton still has to accept.
Goodbye, Mr.
We were supposed to be safe. Oh, what a fun.
must trust.